Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, expectant parents of boys and girls of all ages.
Hey.
Welcome to Muh Radio.
Yeah, everyone, welcome to Muh Radio. My name's Steve.
And I'm Chris.
Apparently, Reese isn't here today.
No, I'm sorry, guys.
Okay,
I'm adjusting levels here.
Oh, okay. He's doing actual work.
Engineer work,
engineer work. Look at that. Chris over here pointed out something with the expecting parents. There are a set of expecting parents in the room right now.
It's me.
Really?
It's not me.
Oh, it's not. It's not. Is it you, Chris? You guys pregnant? You and your wife?
No, not us.
Product of elimination. That must be me. No.
Is it?
No, I'm not having a kid.
No one would let that happen.
Oh God, no. Well, actually, it's true. I'm gonna have a kid. My pregnant girlfriend's here. Say hi. I don't know if you guys could hear that.
You guys
she
are
said hi.
joining the Happy Parent Club.
Yes.
It's all rainbows and fairy tales after 9 months.
Nice. All right.
Promise.
That's good. That's good to know. Nothing bad happens, huh?
Nothing. Don't worry.
She's already outsourced her morning sickness to you, Steve.
Oh, nice. That's fun. I was wondering why I was throwing up this morning.
Yep. Voodoo.
Oh, Jesus. She got one of those voodoo dolls. She's sticking me in the stomach. That's all right. I'll take that if I have to. You know, I'll take her pain.
She saved one of those corn cobs when we were shucking that time.
Oh yeah, and she turned that into a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
She left the silk on to make kind of a beard thing for you, and
nice.
Yeah, it was a pretty good facsimile.
That's really cool.
She put a little fedora on it.
Wow. She went to work on that corn on the cob, didn't she?
She had to make it work, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, voodoo is a tough religion. You guys know that voodoo is a religion. It's not an actual mystical
I would have
thing.
never known that.
Yeah, it's an actual religion.
Yeah, it's like a cross between African mysticism and Catholicism.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of Christianity in it. Isn't that insane?
Now I need to know.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
You learn something new on my radio. That kind of leads us into our first subject. We're going to talk about population, overpopulation, world population, all that stuff. So apparently, there's almost 10 billion people in the world. I think we're at 9 billion right now, and they're thinking that within the next few years we'll hit 10 billion. That's a lot of people.
It's a couple. Yeah, it's a couple. Many.
I did see a fact the other day that only 100 billion people have ever died in the history of the world.
Wow. Ever. All from medical-related CDC documented issues, right?
Right, yeah.
You can go to the CDC website and see.
Yeah. It's like 100 billion.
They provide all that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's 10% of the entire population of the entire world from the beginning of history is alive today.
Wow.
That's a
cool.
mind blower.
Yeah. Well, one of the big proponents of or opponents of world population is that they say that we won't be able to feed everyone.
Thousands of people lack the basic necessities, and many hundreds of thousands lack ordinary comforts.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons, sir.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
Yes, they are. I only wish I could say they were not.
I support those institutions I have mentioned, and I expect the poor to make use of them. Those who are badly off must go there.
Many cannot go there, and many would rather die.
They'd rather die. They'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
That is a challenge.
Yeah, it is a huge challenge. But if you look at the way things are actually going and the fact that farming is getting better and we're able to have bigger crop yields and stuff like that, I think personally that the Earth could sustain 20 billion, maybe even 30 billion people if we get together and work together to do that.
Could we outsource what we have to the moon or people if they were ended up living there? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying
just enough for more people
on
here.
Earth. We could feed 30 billion people on Earth if we wanted to. In fact, we don't have to have starvation anywhere on Earth if we actually tried to do it.
If we tried.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's actually something that we're talking about in my campaign. Things that are here now, but are almost like an alternative reality. We have things in front of us if we just realize them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Wait, what? Campaign? Did you say campaign?
Wait, what?
Yes.
What? We're
Sorry.
segueing already? That was a quick segue. That was fast.
Let's talk about what you were talking about. We could.
That's our teaser.
Yeah, I was about to say we could tease out our next segment.
Skip ahead into 30 minutes and 55 seconds.
Now they're gonna want to listen. They're gonna want to listen to what's coming up.
Now they got to listen to our wonderful talk about population.
Yeah, there's no way to get to the campaign stuff without.
Yeah,
because we're smart. We are content creators.
We are.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. He said
says
so. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm going on his authority.
That's true. Good point.
And I have spoken, so.
And he should know something because he's a candidate.
Oh, well, you just blew the secret on the now we're let's get back to the original thing, which is population, and then we'll get
I'm not
to
done spoiling stuff yet, though.
stop spoiling things.
That
Stop,
thing- that-
stop.
That scene in Star Wars
Stop.
where that guy killed that guy,
That was amazing.
I
Actually,
spoiled it so bad just now.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So many mad fans now.
Wow.
Everyone
You're gonna
tuned
get
out.
hate mail like crazy now. No, what I'd like to say on population, the fact that in the United States, native population is actually going down. Do you guys know that? Our population is going up. You know, we're at like 350 million now, but the native population, people born in the U.S., is actually dropping every year. And that's the only reason it's going up is because of immigration. To keep a normal society sustainable with a slightly more birth than there is death, which is what you want, every woman in that area needs to average 2.1 kids in their lifetime. And that's the average, right? The United States is at 1.9, 2.0. So we're just slightly losing native population. And that's not good. That's not sustainable. We can't sustain that. And that's going to lead to a lot more things where, like, when people our age retire, there's not going to be a generation of kids to support us because they just won't be there because nobody's having kids. And only in poorer nations is the population actually going up. It seems the more industrialized your nation, the less people are having children. And you'd think it would be the opposite of that. It's not. It's literally like Japan is down to like, I think 1.7 or 1.8, which is like, they're getting to the point, Japan has a real huge limitation on immigration, but they're having so few children now that they're about to start opening up to actually letting people immigrate to their country.
Don't they have a lot of nuclear fallout and things going on also in Japan, I thought?
Yeah, but that's not affecting the birth rate, I don't think, that
I don't
much.
know.
It's the fact that middle-class families are only having a kid.
Well, they lose like a few million like every year from Godzilla.
That's true, too. Jeez.
You think he'd like attack somewhere else? I mean, he did attack New York that one time, but Matthew Broderick stopped her. Stop her. Yeah,
Yeah, damn right.
Yep.
Her.
That was a great movie, actually. I watched that one time. On a side note, I watched that one time, and I fell asleep in the middle of it. And when he was running from it at the end, you know, in the taxi and all that stuff, I was having a dream that I was being chased by Godzilla.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was living that moment. I was so cool. I woke up and I was like, "Whoa, where am I? I'm not in New York. Okay, good."
Anyone remember Son of Godzilla?
Whoa! Not again. What's that? Little Godzilla. I don't know what they feed him, but he's growing mighty big. For a baby, I mean.
I go
little
way
guy.
back, yeah.
It was smoke rings, not fire. It was the cutest.
Aw, are you serious? See, even Godzilla's having children, and yet apparently the people in the United States aren't.
I mean, I have read that the overall worldwide is decreasing.
Yeah.
But the United States, you would think, I feel, just my personal perception is, you know, people are having more kids, but...
But it's actually not. The middle class people are only having 1 to 2 kids when our parents had 3 to 4, and then their parents had like 10.
Yeah.
You know, think about how many aunts and uncles you have. Like, are you guys from big families?
I am.
Yeah, I am on both sides. Both sides, my family has I have like 10 aunts and uncles on both sides. My child's not going to have that. My child's going to have 3 blood cousins and 2 step cousins. That's it. And it's one of those things where it's because it's mostly, I think, because they can't afford it. Having a kid is like super expensive. And because of inflation and things that are going on right now, nobody wants to have a kid because it costs money. In fact, I wouldn't be having a kid if it wasn't, a miracle. It wasn't an accident. It was a miracle, as my girlfriend laughs. But I personally wouldn't be normally having one because I can't necessarily afford one. So
join the club, yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah, and it's not like you get a discount on the next one. So if you have like 10 kids, the 10th kid is cheaper than the.
See, someone actually told me that number 3 was the discount number, and
really,
so yeah, so here I'm at number 4, and somebody lied to me. But it's all right. That's all right.
But I think that's a problem, and the only places that are having more children are like in Africa and the poor countries, and that's because they don't have access to cheap birth control, and they don't have jobs. So you have like India and that's expanding its population, but outside of that, everywhere else is lower.
And I suppose
Even
like,
China.
from like a strategic point of view too, if you're from like an agricultural society, you're gonna need to have a lot of kids that can work as you become unable to
Right.
work. You know, you gotta have somebody to shear the corn, plant the sheep, all that good stuff.
Wait. No, reverse those two.
Maybe you.
But no, you're actually correct on that. And now, now children are a burden. I'm using quotation marks here because they don't add anything financial at all. But when we were an agricultural society, there was a benefit to having more children because the more you had, the more they could work in the field, less you had to pay field hands to pick your crops. So it was financially beneficial. Now it's not. So I think the government subsidized that. What do you guys think?
Subsidize the
Children?
Yeah.
Yeah, just give everybody a bunch of money for children. What do you think?
Wow. I like how you took that from that sounds like a good idea, and I'm completely for it.
Yeah,
I
why
got
not?
4 of them.
Yeah, right?
And,
Yeah.
And I could do with 4 more if they were just subsidized.
Yeah, see? There you go.
All right.
There's always an answer, and it's usually government, right?
I guess. I was convinced otherwise until now.
Right? I've convinced you. You're no longer a libertarian. All right.
Yep. More to life.
You gotta have
subsidized.
at least 2 kids. That way you can lease them out as a masked tag team to Vince McMahon. And
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, I've already decided that our kid's going to be like a singer or an actor or a model the minute it's born so that I can make some money off of it. You know what I mean? Like, I got to make some money. Just call me Billy Ray Cyrus. That's all I'm saying.
acting, singing, dancing, triple threat.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about the cleats, Allie.
Yeah, right. So that's the plan. That I'm gonna make some money off this baby. So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, that's the smart thing.
I mean, that really is.
Yeah.
Capitalize on the baby.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. But I think eventually we'll see a switch, a new trend to that, where we have more children eventually.
You mean people might figure out that we're doing something wrong? Maybe.
Yeah,
I agree.
something like a mindset somewhere will switch, or it'll be the white genocide, as Chris likes to say.
Oh yeah. Okay, we were talking about earlier. Why do they call it white genocide when white people get with black people, have kids? I mean, that would just as much be a black genocide because the kid's neither one, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't see.
My thing is like, who cares what color the kid is as long as you people are having kids? That's what I want to see. I want more children. I could care if they were half black, half Mexican, half all black, all Mexican. It doesn't matter. Like
1/3 something.
1/3. Yeah. Let's just.
Anything.
We need more kids. We need more Americans.
Pokemon, collect them all.
Yeah. Exactly. Like the term anchor baby. You guys know what that is, obviously?
Not familiar with that one.
Really? You guys don't know what that term is?
Lay it out.
So it's when an illegal immigrant comes across the country, they have a child, they're pregnant, and they waddle across the border. And
You're explaining how I got here.
right. And then they have a child, therefore that child becomes a U.S. citizen, therefore anchoring them to the country, anchor baby.
Gotcha.
I don't care if there's anchor babies in this country because that's another natural born citizen. Now we have another American who's going to have a Social Security, who's going to pay the taxes, who's going to do a job. Boom. We need that. So
immigration's not the problem in any way,
No.
like we've said, right? We've
No.
probably said that in previous
we
episodes.
need immigration. If our natural population isn't having children, we need immigration to keep our population going.
That's the problem. I get it now. All the people who should be having kids are too busy on Facebook complaining about immigrants.
Right.
Being
Exactly.
impacted by that radiation and everything. Yep.
They took their
weird.
jobs.
Yeah. They did. I think. Maybe not.
That's the common misconception. No, they didn't take your job. They took a job that you wouldn't take.
And the
So-
job developed into something else.
Yeah,
And,
and if they have a child in the country, whether they're illegal or legal or not, and that child becomes a U.S. citizen, that child is going to grow up, get a good education, hopefully, and become a productive member of the U.S. society. So what does it matter where their parents came from? I love the idea of, what's that Obama era policy that Trump tried to get rid of with all of them?
I was gonna But no,
Talking about
I knew
But
you were
the one
going
about
some-
immigration, though, you know what I'm talking about?
DACA.
Yeah, the Dream Children is what
The
they're
Dream
called.
Act.
The Dream Act.
Yep. Okay.
Like that's a brilliant idea. Like, you know, these. Why not just give every kid that's here citizenship? Just get it over with. Like, why? What is
I
wrong
can
with that?
agree with that. I'm totally for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no reason to support what is this? These agents that we're sending out to force people out of wherever they're staying and then detain them and take them out of the country.
Yeah.
I've seen some of these.
Talk about a waste of money.
Well, it's scary because you got to think they're capturing somebody and removing them, but I mean everybody else is sitting there just watching as this insanity goes on.
Yeah.
And most of these people really are contributing members of society, so
Yeah.
they're not committing crimes, and then the police come up and like, we found you, we're ejecting you.
Yeah, I worked third shift at a gas station for many, many years, and one of the things you see at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning is a whole bunch of group of Mexicans come in, buy a bunch of stuff, helping the economy by buying stuff. They go out, they work, they do a job that I wouldn't want to do, and then they come back and they buy more stuff and they go home. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
If they're undocumented, they're not paying taxes.
Oh, well,
Technically, they are on
on the goods that
everything
they
they buy,
purchased.
yeah.
So they're still helping the economy.
About the only thing that they could get around for taxes would be the income tax, and we all know that's unconstitutional in the first place.
Exactly, yeah. And it's theft.
I mean, but yeah, they're paying sales tax.
Yep.
They're paying property tax in the form of
Rent.
in the rent, and
Yeah.
because that's always passed down.
Right.
I mean, there's really no way we're getting gouged that they're not. I mean, they're contributing too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're a net benefit to the country, not a net negative.
So to kind of wrap up the population talk, so what is it that's really forcing people and pushing them, I guess, towards having less and less kids?
Money. It's the devaluation of the dollar. It's the fact that it doesn't have the buying power that it did anymore. If you think about the 50s when they were having all these kids, you could have that many kids and a house and a car on one decent job. Now you have to have both parents have to work, and if God forbid both parents aren't in a decent job, that they're just in like a
Like
minimum
state or
wage
federal
type or
employees.
something. Yeah, then both people have to work, and sometimes you have to have 3 jobs or 4 jobs. And you can't afford a kid if you're working 4 jobs just to pay the bills. You throw in a kid into that mix, and you're like, well, there goes a bunch of money that I'm not going to ever get back. So,
And the things you compromise in between, like, maybe sending your kid to a school that you might not agree with,
right.
or having other choices involved with your kids
Yeah.
that you just normally wouldn't agree with, but you're forced to because of how much you have to work.
Personally, for me, I would do something like you're doing with the homeschooling, but we can't. Unfortunately, we can't do that. I would love if I made enough money that she could stay at home and teach the kid. Or even vice versa, I would take that. But neither one of us makes enough, so now we're gonna probably have to send this kid to public school. And I'm telling you right now, honey, our kid will not do homework.
Well, I'll
that
tell
kid
you
brings
this.
a piece of homework home, I'm ripping it up, throwing it away, and I'm going to tell the teacher that they're going to give them an A anyway because homework is BS. They should be doing that work at school, not at home.
Totally agree. I don't know if it's that easy. Having kids and choosing to homeschool them, you really have to accept that you're going to live a different lifestyle, right? Part of the lifestyle for us is assuming that we're going to have on average our budget every year is going to be a lot less than the normal family of 4 kids who send their kids to public school. We expect our budget every year is going to be not very big.
Yeah.
And we make it. We live a modest life.
Right.
And some people would say, if you come to my house, I have a couple things, but like any other person, I utilize everything I have, and I would consider myself to not have a lot, really.
Right.
I have enough, and I'm happy. I think there's a choice to be made as a parent, and a lot of people think, public school offers this, it offers a good education, or offers some place to actually have your kid while you work too much, but it costs you in ways that you don't understand. So you have to accept that you're going to either financially make less, you have to take some kind of loss. And what is that loss going to be?
Yeah.
And that's something parents have to deal with right now. If you were to decide to homeschool, what loss are you going to take? What is that going to be? What's it going to look like? And can you accept it? Because you are going to take a loss as a homeschool parent. But for us, the gains just aren't visible to everyone else. Our kids gain quite a bit, but we have no way to, show other people that. So it becomes a separate discussion after the fact, I guess. Making that choice. If you make it about financial, it's a really hard decision. It's almost impossible.
Right.
And it really is.
Yeah.
Like you said.
I agree 100%. And that's definitely something we'll tackle when we get there, but that's 5 or 6 years down the road. So I think we should segue into, what was that about campaigns? Something about a campaign?
Somebody.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that after the break. Are you the leader of the free world?
And finally, I ask the leaders of the region, political and religious,
Are you trying to give a speech, but your teeth won't stay in?
join us in the noble quest for lasting peace.
Use Fixident. It'll fix it and forget it.
I forget the one time I didn't use it.
The only time I didn't use it, I said, God bless you, United States. Hey everyone, welcome back. And what was that?
There was something we were going to mention.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was.
What?
It was Trump.
Oh, well, it's always Trump. Good call. That's true. Good point.
yeah.
Yeah, it's always Trump. All right, so you guys may not have heard or seen this video or the sound clip. Trump. I want to touch on what happened with what he was saying, and talk about the actual content of the message. Okay, does that make sense? So that's going to be two different subjects, but within the same thing. So the first thing is Trump was talking about moving our embassy to Jerusalem, allowing Israel to use Jerusalem as its capital. Well, during that speech, at the end of it, something happened. Reese, do you want to roll that beautiful bean?
Rethink old assumptions and open our hearts and minds to possible and possibilities. And finally, I ask the leaders of the region, political and religious, Israeli and Palestinian, Jewish and Christian and Muslim, to join us in the noble quest for lasting peace. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the Palestinians. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So,
We need Dana Carvey going, Julius.
Have you been drinking? No, not at all. Just at the judicial system.
apparently, according to the White House, what happened there, if you guys could tell in the clip, something was going on with his speech. The White House says his mouth was dry. Now, when your mouth is dry, you don't have that sound.
But that does sound like a White House response.
It does sound like a White
Yes,
House
it
response.
does. It's valid.
Yeah, but when you have that sound, it sounds like you have too much saliva in your mouth. You know, a lot of people think he had a mini stroke or he has got brain damage or something. But if you listen to his actual words, his words weren't wrong. He was reading
He was
the
coherent.
speech. He was coherent. You
Yes.
knew what he was saying. He was just slurring his words. Reese, after the first time he heard this, said, "Did he have dental work?" I think I wish I could give credit to the person who I saw this on Facebook, but the first comment I saw on that video said was his false teeth. I can't even say that. False teeth coming out.
I just learned last week that he had false teeth, so now that you say that,
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense.
I think that's what it was. He probably just didn't put enough glue or whatever.
You know, he could maybe parlay this into a Fix-A-Dent commercial
Yeah,
thing.
right?
I mean, his whole golden parachute for
Yeah.
post-presidency.
Are you the leader of the free world? Are you trying to give a speech, but your teeth won't stay in? Use Fix-A-Dent. It'll fix it and forget it.
I regret the one time I didn't use it.
The only time I didn't use it, I said, "God bless you, United States." On a more serious note, I think we're all kind of in agreement, though, that was probably not
It was
a
a little
stroke.
odd. That
It
was
was
odd.
odd, but and he was
I
70,
still remember from last year, everyone's like, Hillary Clinton is dying.
and then she's still alive. So yeah.
That's
So
everyone's
is
just
this-
freaking out over
Yeah.
every little
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
So what the more important thing is what he was saying in that speech. Okay, so Israel's capital right now is Tel Aviv, right? They want their big religious city of Jerusalem to be their capital. We wouldn't let them because the Palestinians claim Jerusalem is their capital. Until that situation got resolved, we weren't going to let them choose it. And Trump's like, meh, my lawyer's Jewish. We'll help him out a little. I'm assuming that's what he was thinking.
So, no, I'm just kidding. I totally caught that. Or did I?
I don't know. Do you guys know the history of Israel?
I'm not so familiar. I'm really not.
Okay, so I'll give you guys and our listeners a short, hopefully short, history lesson. In 1947, the UN and Britain came to an agreement to split it was called Palestine at the time. It was a territory of Palestine. To split that up into two countries. One was Israel, the other was Palestine. Their borders were really unique. Palestinian land surrounded completely by Israel land. I mean, it was just an insane thing. And what they did is they took Jerusalem and said, you both can use that as your capital. One part is the Jewish part will be the Jewish capital. The Muslim part will be the Palestinian capital. The Christian part is kind of its own, almost like Hong Kong-ish type thing. It's like its own little territory. Seemed okay. You know, the Israelites were super excited because, well, hey, we get our country back. And the Palestinians were like, well, we're here now, so we might as well enjoy it. Well, right as soon as the Israelites swore in their first president and the last British troop left, as soon as his airplane or his helicopter was in the sky, the Palestinians attacked the Israelites. Without any provocation, just automatically started attacking. And Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria also got involved. And somehow this brand new Jewish state, not only did they win against all these odds, they actually conquered all of Palestine, or most of Palestine. Where Jordan conquered the Golan Heights, and Egypt had part of the country too, the Gaza Strip, I think. After that, Israel wanted to make Jerusalem their capital. We said no, They eventually now are going to use Jerusalem as their capital. That makes sense at all to you guys?
Yeah.
So that's the problem right now is Palestinians are saying they stole our country, and it's like, well, no, they conquered you because you wouldn't leave them alone. And every time they try to hand the Palestinians an olive branch of peace, the Palestinians blow something up or attack them. They fought 3 wars since their inception against odds that they should have lost. In the 70s, they were completely surrounded and almost all of their territory was conquered, and somehow they came back and won. They're trying to live peacefully, and they're surrounded by their enemies. And the only reason they keep taking land like they're doing is to protect themselves because, you know, the more you push out, the harder it is for the other countries to get to them. So I got no problem with them taking Jerusalem. Us letting them use Jerusalem as their capital. It's hugely controversial in the Middle East. Hugely controversial.
Yeah, I'm just so reluctant to get involved in any way, shape, or form.
When it comes to foreign issues like this, I don't know how we have any kind of dog in this fight.
I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't stop them. I mean,
that's
don't.
Also something.
But are they going to require material aid at this point if that's what happens going forward?
Yeah, I don't understand what our position, what the United States position is.
Basically, what we're doing right now, all we're doing is we're moving one building from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That's it. And that's the embassy. And the reason we're doing that is to allow Israel to claim their original capital as their capital. They may not even do that. They will. Well, this is, to me, a form of non-intervention. We're basically, by us being in Tel Aviv, we're telling Israel, you can't choose what to do with your own land. So now by pulling out of Tel Aviv, we're letting Israel decide, do you want to use Jerusalem as your capital? And they're going to say yes, and then all we're going to do is build an embassy there. So it's literally us backing away from the situation. By being in Tel Aviv...
And then building an embassy.
Yeah, by being in Tel Aviv, well, we want to have an embassy in every country. I mean, in all
And that's
honesty.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would say, on the Libertarian Podcast, we try to stress non-intervention, which means we don't need more embassies around the world, unless you think we do.
Well, the reason I say we do is because embassies are part of friendship. An embassy with another country, that's where your ambassadors meet and talk about trade and all that stuff.
Also, in my experience, I've spoke with a certain veteran for peace in our area that was stationed at one of these embassies. I don't know. I mean, yes, is an embassy a place of peaceful exchanges? Sure, but it's like anything else that we put our hands in that we didn't have to. It opens the door for potential.
Well, I'm saying even if the miracle of miracles happen and we elect a libertarian president in 3 years or whatever, that person's still going to need embassies, no matter what. No matter if we become the most free, openest country ever in the history of the world, we're still having to deal with countries that aren't free and
I would
open,
say
so we
that-
would need embassies.
It's just a time in history where we have so much to focus on that if this is what we're focusing on, I do wonder why. Because does it pose such a threat to us that this is what we have to be involved in?
No.
Exactly. We don't need to spread democracy,
Right.
which we've done unsuccessfully. And I think that comes down to even, things we've done historically, like installing an embassy somewhere,
Right.
even if we have the cooperation of the place that we're doing this in. It's our choice to lead by example. And yes, if we were at the most peaceful time, I would maybe then be inclined to agree. But we are so far from that. We have conflict after conflict that we don't even understand.
Right.
Most people don't understand. So yeah, I don't know what we are doing saying anything about matters going on somewhere else.
You frame that really well. It's a very, very strong answer, like very, very
It's
almost
because I know
leadership
very-
type answer.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
like-
almost like a guy running for office
Would say something like that. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Isn't
Oh, Trump.
yeah.
So
Trump.
here's the thing. I found out that shortly after Trump made that speech saying, lots of presidents have said they're going to do it, and they never quite pulled the trigger, and they put it off. Right after that, Trump signs an order putting it off for 6 months.
Well, I heard
Kick
it's
the
to yeah, right. I heard it's to build so they can build a fancy new building, because that's one thing I'm against. We already have an embassy in Jerusalem, so literally all we would have to do is move people's desks from one building in Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. But no, we can't do that. We've got to spend $20 million to build a very beautiful, awesome embassy. Because God
find it-
forbid
yeah, I
we
find
save
it hard
money
to-
by using the same building we already have.
No, it's okay. The Mexicans will pay for it.
The Palestinians will pay
The
for it.
Palestinians will pay for it, right?
That's how we solve it all.
If they could ever stop throwing rocks.
They'll pay in rocks.
They'll
is what
pay in rocks.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah, they'll throw
Crypto
a lot.
rocks.
Oh, trust me. The minute that thing gets built, they will let us know how many rocks we're gonna have.
I didn't follow this the Israel-Palestine issue at all this week, and I did see that he said something. I didn't know he slurred his words. Yeah, man, that's poor guy.
Yeah, that had to be super embarrassing too. Like, he walked off that podium and just was screaming.
I mean, of all the times for that to happen, that's a pretty historic announcement.
Yeah,
And
you're talking probably one of his biggest presidential moments that he'll probably end up having was that moment. And
He's
to
got a
have it-
couple more years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he'll have some big moments, but I don't know if he'll have anything bigger than making Jerusalem the capital of Israel.
Oh, well, let's
pretty
keep
big
our
one.
fingers crossed.
Right? Yeah.
Good times ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're gonna take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about that campaign thing that we were gonna talk about. Right? There was something with campaigning.
oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to that. All right. And we're back. I don't know why I dramatically paused there. Just felt like the need for it.
You're feeling a Shatner kind of.
Yeah.
You need a dramatic pause.
Do you guys know why Shatner talks like that? Do you guys want to know why?
Tell me.
It's something that I, as somebody who did local theater, it was a problem I had. So when you're studying your lines, you're memorizing your lines, you read them super fast, because the more you can read them, the more chance you have to memorize them, right? Well, Shatner would do that just like me. He would read them super fast, right?
But he didn't understand the context.
No. And what he would do is he'd get up and he'd say the lines as fast as he memorized them, like da 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 da, right? And I do the same thing when I'm on stage. I'd you get them out as fast as you can, because that's how you memorized them. So what he ended up having to do, they told him, they were like, you need to slow down. People can't understand you. You're talking too fast. So those breaks in his talk were actually forced because of memorizing his lines. So he would memorize them. Spock, why are you doing that? That was his way of slowing down his talk. Otherwise, he would go, Spock, why are you doing that?
I'll be.
Isn't that cool? That's literally, he had to do that. And it became such a trademark that he just probably talks like that normally now, I bet. He's just like normal conversation. He's like, hi, how are you?
It's funny you bring up Shatner. I just saw the other day he's got a new show.
Does he?
On a new TV series. I think it's Netflix or one of those.
No
but
kidding, huh?
It's William Shatner, Henry Winkler, the Fonz,
Hey.
George Foreman,
Hey.
Foreman, and Terry Bradshaw.
Interesting.
Right? All these.
What is it called,
legends.
geriatrics?
It's called Better Late Than Never. So pretty
That's
close.
about right.
Pretty close. on NBC. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're on season 2. That is crazy because we're all Shatner fans here.
Oh yeah, I love some Star Trek. Not as much as
You
Star
know
Wars.
what else I miss is Rescue 911. Remember he hosted that show too.
Wow.
Oh yeah, wow.
Way
That was
back.
a long time ago. Wow.
Rescue 911.
Yeah, I'm guessing 2 and 3.
Gonna have to
Yeah.
YouTube that now.
Yeah,
Wow,
they
yeah,
would
I
do
forgot
dramatic
about
reenactments of real life 911 cases.
Yeah.
and
Wow, dude. Wow. Coming back with the old memories. I forgot about that show. That's
I
crazy.
love that show.
Now that we've talked about Shatner, I've totally forgotten what we were going to talk about.
Were we going to talk about
We were talking before the break. We were talking about something.
some kind of C word?
Collections.
Yes.
Our teacher collection when we collected the supplies for the teachers. That's what right?
That was it.
Right?
The fundraiser.
It's a C,
Yeah.
it's a C word.
It's a C word.
That's
All right.
what it was.
See?
That might have been.
C word, really? Okay.
Collection.
Collection, yes.
Yeah. Not campaign.
So the Janesville Gazette, a lot of you don't know that's where we're from, Janesville, South Wisconsin, had a article the other day saying that the Rock County School Board said that teachers, not that they need to buy their own supplies, but that they can't claim as much of it on their taxes to get a refund for it as they used to. I think it's down to like $200. They can claim $200 in supplies, which is like nothing.
That's got to go quick.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that there's 3 people in this room who had a great idea and actually saw it to fruition and raised a bunch of school supplies for teachers.
Specifically for teachers.
Specifically for teachers.
Before any of this news had hit.
Yeah.
Well before.
Well before.
So they won't have to explain that deduction.
Exactly.
That's
they don't
right.
have to
We
deduct
are
it.
in the ESLP.
ESL, what?
Yeah, Extrasensory Libertarian Party.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, that's
Glad to be there. It's good.
That's it. We could feel that coming on. We knew Rock County
Sensing
Rock
it.
County School Board was going to do that.
Yeah, we knew.
Felt
We
the
knew.
disturbance in the Freedom Force.
Yes, we did.
But
Kind of like when that one person died in the Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, and that person did that thing to them,
Yep. Where they stuck him with the
and then they said that thing.
Yep. Oh my god, that was amazing.
Spoiler
at
alert.
about 45
Oops.
minutes in is when it happened.
Yeah, 45:22 I think is what it was, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah, but you will not believe when that person does that thing.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. What? So yeah, we're kind of tooting our own horn here a little bit, I think, with the whole teacher supply thing, but I think
It is coincidental. It's more than coincidental.
yeah, it is. It's amazing that we actually saw that happen before it actually happened. I mean,
And we need to piggyback this. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
we're just thinking out loud here, right on the air for you. Well, we're not technically on the air, but pretend, will you?
I see the thing that says on air right now. See it?
Oh, cool. As long as we got the lights,
Okay.
it's
Lit up.
all good.
Yeah, exactly.
And as far as you know, we have a light that
As
says
far
on
as
air.
you know, we do. We totally have it.
Don't.
Hey,
yeah.
you just can't lie, can you?
But-
it's like you're running. Like it's the opposite
I will
of somebody
spoil
who's running
anything.
for office.
And that's why I'm running, because I will spoil it all for everyone.
Wait, you're running?
What, you're running? What? What do you? Oh, you're running down the street. Is what you're saying.
He
Yeah.
ran out of milk. He's running
yeah.
down the
Well, he's,
right away.
he's got kids. They probably drink a lot of milk.
Yeah, they got to get
yeah,
strong and stuff.
exactly.
I remember those commercials, or like I might be small now.
I get my
I'm
daily
drinking
jogs in.
milk.
My bad.
So we got supplies for teachers. I don't remember where we were at.
And they
Yeah,
needed them.
I was saying that now we need to like harp on this whole thing of crap, teachers are having to pay more and more out of pocket to make next year's event at least twice
Yep.
as big.
Yep.
I bet you more people will jump on now.
Well,
too.
I commented. Me personally, I commented on that that article. I was the first person to comment actually first. And so I commented and I said, "Hey, look, we already had a school supply drive for this. Check us out here on Facebook. So if you're listening and you're interested, look for Supplies Party on Facebook. Like us, share us. Even if you're not from this area, maybe like it and share it, and it could lead to somebody in your own area doing the same thing to help out. I mean, we only helped out 3 schools, and what we helped them out with was a drop in the bucket. It looked like a lot of supplies. It was a lot of supplies. But when you think about it at the end of the day, 300 students or whatever it is. It was a drop in the bucket.
Well, if you read this Gazette article and you see all the, the deductions and the possible elimination of them, this is a big stake for teachers. Teachers do care about this. But I'm reading the last paragraph in this article, and you know who's on the school board in Janesville who has a dog in this fight?
Who?
Kathy Myers.
Oh, that's right. Kathy Myers. And
Democrat candidate.
What is so important about her?
She is a candidate competing against Paul Ryan for the 1st congressional district.
Oh, and she probably wants to politicize the crap out of this.
I'm not in support of negative stuff towards people who are candidates.
Paul Ryan hates teachers, and he thinks that they shouldn't have supplies at all. They should prick their finger and draw on the chalkboard with their blood. That's what Paul Ryan thinks.
From the
or
article,
at least that's what probably Kathy Myers thinks Paul Ryan thinks. That's what I'm guessing.
I'm sure there's a social media video out there where she says exactly that.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I didn't realize that. And so if Kathy Myers is commenting on this, saying Congress eliminating this deduction is a terrible thing. It's a nightmare. Don't eliminate the deduction.
Okay, so as a libertarian, when it comes to deductions and taxes and stuff, to me, if you can deduct something that you use for your job off of your taxes, I'm perfectly for that. So when you lower that deduction amount that they can deduct, that's not fair to them. That's money that they're wasting to educate our children.
Well, you know what we've been hearing about this tax bill, the positive that we've been hearing about, not the negative, but the positive is that it's simplifying taxes, right? Well, that's what this does. It simplifies it by eliminating it. So, and libertarians, as libertarians, we face that challenge a lot because we would eliminate some things, but for the most part, we're worried about efficiency and effectiveness, not complete elimination on everything. That's always probably the most radical.
One of the last things, we would rather get rid of the tax first than the deduction for the tax.
That would be.
I would add to the deduction. If I was in Congress, I would add more deduction to it. I'd be like, you can deduct $4,000 from your supplies.
However much you spend, deduct it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that would be helpful.
I would be in support of that.
That's a way of shifting the spending from.
Yeah.
I think you might have kind of come on to something there. Yeah. Maybe libertarians should support more deductions for things. Because let's talk about when you've spent your money on anything, whether you're a teacher or an independent contractor of any kind, and you have this deduction number, why wouldn't it be as big as it should be?
Yeah,
I mean, that's all your money.
Yeah. You're spending your money to make your business better. And and I'm not saying teachers are a business, but I'm saying whatever you're spending, if you're spending on your business, then you're actually helping the economy out. So why not give back that money?
Can you imagine what could happen if you allowed someone to deduct, say, charitable contributions up to the total amount they pay in taxes? How unnecessary the state would look pretty damn fast.
That would be interesting. Isn't that what was it Gary Johnson that was proposing that? Was some sort of zero taxes, what he called it, or zero something like that, where if whatever you paid in charity, you could deduct that entire amount back.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Also, Phil Anderson mentioned it when he was running for Senate.
Oh, okay.
And he will be running for governor.
Hey, yeah, that's cool. That actually kind of reminds me of something. So Phil Anderson's running for governor, right? Yeah. That's cool. Is there any other libertarians that are running for anything in this area, maybe that we might know or know of?
You know anyone, Reese?
Oh, I know of one, a Joe Kexel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Oh, that guy.
Okay,
yeah.
That's a guy we've been waiting to hear about.
That's first district too, right?
Yes, that's first district. He's running against Paul Ryan.
Three-way race so far.
All right, that's awesome. But do we know of any other besides Mr. Kexel there who's might be running?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I'm falling short, guys. I'm not sure who you're talking about here.
No, there's a guy. There's somebody. He does podcasts. He's he worked at the radio. Remember when we were at the radio? He was there at the radio with us.
He was.
He was in an episode of Matube even.
Yeah,
Daedrid
that's
McKnight.
right.
No, he wasn't in Matube. Matube.
Yeah.
He wasn't in Matube. Unfortunately, I mean, we would love to interview
Yeah,
him.
we did an episode about him
Running.
running for
Yeah.
45th district.
Oh no, I was thinking back when he was actually in one of the openings last year. Remember that?
Yeah, that one too.
I remember when I did that with you guys. That was pretty cool.
Wait,
Wait.
that was you, Reese?
Oh, dude.
It might
Wait,
be
you're
this-
running for office?
Small
I
world.
was waiting for you
man.
guys. I was waiting.
Yeah, we just got back from his announcement party, I guess.
Campaign
you call it.
kickoff. You know,
Campaign
I'm not a
kickoff.
big football guy, but it's Sunday, right? So I was like, hey, campaign kickoff. That's it.
And he scheduled it like a real Wisconsinite. He scheduled it after the Packer game.
And I didn't.
And boy, did we need a pick-me-up after
Intuition
that
on that.
game, huh?
Thanks for spoiling it. I have not seen it. No, I'm not joking. I was going to go home after this and watch it.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Ruined.
Guess I'm not watching
Spoilers.
Wow, guess I'm not watching
So many spoilers in this episode.
Well, there's a spoiler right here. You're going to spoil your Spicer? Is that his name?
Spritzer.
Spritzer.
Yeah. You know-
Spritzer. Spritzer?
Spritzer.
Sprite. Like Sprite, like the drink, but
Yes. With a zer.
But Zer. Sprites.
Spritzer.
Sprites.
I don't know how many syllables I would break into, but I think you
Spri-
got it.
Sir.
I think you got it. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Mark.
Mark.
That seemed
Let's
like-
call him Mark. It's
Seemed
much
like-
easier.
Seemed like a
This
lot
good
of
old Mark.
syllables. Sir. Yeah, there you go.
It's
Try it. Anyways, yeah, we had the kickoff.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think? I tried to prep a speech.
Yeah.
You know, anticipation of the overpacked crowd. You know, the
Right.
million plus people in Bushel and Peck.
Yeah. That was crazy.
We were close.
Yeah.
We were close on that kind of turnout, but you know, the turnout was good enough where I didn't have to be too nervous.
Right.
Just I consume too much coffee nervous, and that always gets me. It gets me every time.
Well, that's you did good, and it's to be expected because you're just starting out, and it's your first run. So I would imagine by next October there'll be thousands and thousands of people at one of your rallies.
By November 4th of 2018.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, you'll have I can imagine it. You'll have a party on the 4th where there'll be a huge hall. There'll be people waving banners and stuff and confetti, and then when you win, balloons will fall from the sky, and you'll come out and you'll give a teary thanks everybody.
Holding two
I could have done
babies.
this to you.
Holding
Yeah.
two babies.
Oh, of course, yeah, and you'll be like one of them would be mine. See,
There you go.
I'm already putting it on stage. There
This
we go.
is
see?
genius.
You'll give your teary speech and thank you, and then you'll say to Mr. Spritzer, good job, way to run for office, and you didn't because you're going to run a great campaign. You're not going to be a jerk. We know that. You're going to run a clean campaign.
There's definitely no need for that.
and not take this guy down because from what you've said about him, he seems like a pretty nice guy.
I
So-
can't say anything bad about him. I've met him. I've interviewed him previously, and he is a really good guy. And everyone that mutual friends or people that I know that have known also say very good guy. So,
But just because he's a good guy doesn't mean he's the right guy for the 45th.
representation's a different thing.
Yeah.
And I do think over the next year we're going to see where he stands on issues and where I stand on issues, and we're going to see the difference. And hopefully, enough people care about the libertarian option. We're going to find out.
I just my biggest fear is that if he decides to turn negative, all he's going to do is share the Matube episode. That's going to be his negative ad.
We'll just make another. We'll make another one.
You're like, he was on Matube. Like, oh man, we just lost in the election. Sorry, man. We were trying to help, but we lost in the election.
Never happening. Never happening. Now, the WCLO coverage, if he was a podcaster and he was sitting around like I was and recorded it, oh man, he would have had me on that because I said fiscally conservative, which is not what I meant. I meant responsible. Not conservative.
That's all right. That's it. It's new. You're learning, and you got almost a whole year to
Yep.
crank this stuff out and get. How many votes do you think you need to win? What do you think's the number? Like put a number on
In
it.
an unopposed race, you need 17,000.
17,000.
I mean, one vote would have. But
No, seriously, I'm not joking. Like, do you know how many votes he got last time when he won?
got 17,000.
17,000?
Yep. So, and there's 35,000 people in Beloit, which is the biggest population within the 45th district.
Wow. So you need basically, and if you think of the 17,000, not all 17,000 are going to vote for him with another option. So you figure maybe 16,000. So you need probably 12,000, 13,000 votes, and you could potentially win this.
Yeah, I think there's like 1,000 in the other districts alone. So there's like 1,000 in Orfordville, maybe less.
Yeah. So,
but Broadhead, Evansville, Judah, Plymouth, Newark Township, all those. There's a good amount of population spread out there, but the population density is most in Beloit.
so you need Beloiters to come out and vote for a. Is this guy from Beloit too?
He is a native of Chicago,
Oh.
but he graduated Beloit College
Okay.
with political science degree.
Nice.
And he's very smart.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, but you are the hometown kid. So no offense to him, he's from Chicago. I mean, you grew up here in Beloit, Beloit area, right?
And less than being a bragging point,
Yeah.
I do think there's differences, and hopefully people will notice those differences. Some people are really good at understanding politics and the workings of, maybe proposing a bill, writing a bill, and how legislation works every day. Some people are very well versed with politics and how all those wheels and gears turn. And some people are completely not, but still are the common person, still understand everyone's daily struggles, everyone's the issues people face.
Right.
And, you have the choice to have one or the other represent you. And there's nothing wrong with having a guy who's really politically aware and knows how politics works, knows some other representatives. Yeah. He's walked across the aisle. Those are good things. But I think there's potential with having someone who's not well versed with politics, but understands the common person's issues, the reality of what a person faces here in the 45th at least. There's two different things, and that's probably what the next year is going to be about, He is very politically aware and intelligent.
Well,
so.
see, and that's the beauty. You can point all that out without being negative on him being from Chicago and not living here his whole life. You can point out, hey, look.
It wouldn't do me any good to point out Chicago because most of Beloit came from Chicago or Milwaukee or somewhere, and that's a great thing. We started off talking about immigration, but really Beloit is a city consists of.
But you can point to it and go, I've been this my whole entire life. You can prop yourself up without having to be negative to him. And that's the important thing, and I'm sure you're going to do that.
I would hope that if for some reason I do win, that Spreitzer would remain able to be a guy I could reach out to at least for anything, because he does seem to be a guy that you can reach out to as a representative and talk to. I would hope that he would continue his good nature as he has.
It'll be nice to see in Wisconsin a nice clean race, because the last few years we've seen some dirty races between Paul Ryan and his usual opponent. You see ads all over the place, how negative. And then, even with the race Phil was in last year, got really negative.
That was an interesting one because I was telling you guys about this, but I got to interview all three of the guys. I got to invite them for an all-inclusive debate where all three Senate candidates would have been, Phil, Russ, and Ron. And so I got to see how at least those candidates reacted to a libertarian candidate, the both parties. And neither one of the parties wanted to even respond to anything involving Phil, which wasn't a surprise to me, but it really did. It was an eye-opener that the parties will distance themselves from third parties as much as they can, because it's really the only way they can't have a relationship with a libertarian.
Well, when you figure when our biggest weakness is lack of exposure, why would they want to give us that?
Free exposure, they're not going to do that.
I mean, but we're small now. But we've been drinking milk.
Well, it's that the validity of, like, if you talk to someone of that type, of a libertarian type, then they become more mainstream, and when they're not mainstream, you can be like, oh, that's fringe. They're fringe. Nobody believes that stuff. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about them. But once we get big enough and they have to face it, That's going to be the interesting part. And that is once we start winning more seats. And that's something we've been doing lately. We're seeing
I was
winning people
surprised that
left and right.
We got some this year. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, some city council, some not in Wisconsin, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
in some other states.
2018 could be, I don't want to say too much, guys, but I am so excited for 2018 and the Wisconsin Libertarian Party.
Oh,
The Joe Kexel announcement today, him running for the 1st district, completely sealed the deal for me. I'm very happy with all of our candidates. We have a Secretary of State candidate.
Yep.
It's amazing, Rich Reynolds, Phil and Patrick, awesome candidates for governor and lieutenant governor.
Yes.
We have other assembly candidates. We have so many candidates that I think we've had about this many candidates in previous elections, but we've never had, as far as I know, in Wisconsin, this many candidates at all levels, at the governor level and state assembly and
Yep.
other.
Well,
it's amazing.
the last time we had somebody run for governor, it was last second. It was kind of like right at the last
Robert
minute.
Burke?
Yeah.
Yep.
He did it just kind of like on a whim because the person running against Walker was
Mary
also named
Burke.
Burke. Mary
Yep.
Burke. So he's like, hey, might as well do it, and it didn't put in all that much money into the campaign, didn't really try. But now that Phil's doing it and actually going to push it, it's going to help.
Yeah.
Huge.
I would say the campaign that I'm running here is a little mix of both.
Yeah.
I need to do it, and very serious about it.
Right.
It's a weird combo because this area, like I said, the 45th had no competition for the last 4 years. And if you're listening right now and you're living in an area, check if your representative has had any opponents in the last election or two. I would guarantee, for the most part, I think the percentage of unopposed elections in Wisconsin is pretty large.
Yeah.
So look into it. I mean, put your name on the ballot, if anything.
All right, well, guys, I think that's a good way to end it.
When's the next Rock County Libertarian meeting?
Hopefully, the second Tuesday of January. We're kind of we took a hiatus for Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff, so we're hoping to get started back up with that again. And kind of almost had one today with missing like 3 people.
Yep.
But yeah, we're hoping to get that back up, and we're gonna have some more fundraising stuff we're gonna be doing. So
Awesome.
super excited. Good night, everyone.
Peace.
See ya.